Hello students, chapter 8, how do organisms reproduce? So far we have studied asexual mode of reproduction, in which binary fission, multiple fission, vegetative propagation and all those methods we have studied. But we are also familiar that there are modes of reproduction that depends on involvement of two individuals to produce a new generation, and that is called as sexual reproduction. Like we know that bulls alone cannot produce new calves, or humans a male cannot produce a new young ones without female, or vice versa. So why use sexual mode of reproduction, or what is there which not present in asexual reproduction, or asexual mode of reproduction have any limitations or not? So that limitation is variation. What is variation? We have studied before that every time creation of new cell from an older one, every time when a cell division occurs or two new cells produced from older one, there is one mechanism which is compulsory, that is DNA replication. Without this cell apparatus cannot work, and without this cell apparatus DNA alone cannot work. So every time DNA replication occurs, and we also know that DNA replication is a biochemical process which cannot be accurate every time. So every time there are slight changes in new DNA, but these are slight changes, means it will not make this DNA that much new that it cannot work in this cell apparatus, but there are slight changes every time that helps DNA and ultimately helps the new organism. We studied that for organism this variation might be harmful. Like if our DNA gets changed, we can get deadliest disease like cancer. So for organism it may be harmful, but we studied that for species, for whole population, for that species, for human beings, this variation is beneficial over a long period of time. Like evolution takes place, we are evolved from monkeys to human beings. It is also thankful to this variation, to this DNA. So this variation is helpful. So was this variation present in asexual reproduction? Because DNA replication also occurs in asexual reproduction. We studied that if even this is amoeba, if even amoeba gets divided into two amoebas, there is DNA replication. Otherwise amoeba will not be able to produce pseudopodia, or will not be able to live. It will die. So DNA replication is present here also, and variation is present here also. We studied that we have done an activity on bacteria. We grow some bacteria at some temperature in test tube, and after 2 or 3 days if we change the temperature, some of them may live, but most of them will die. And that some which live, they have gone through variation, that's why they lived. So for a population variation is helpful, and variation was present in asexual reproduction also. But what is different in sexual reproduction? That it involves, first I said, two individuals. So there will be two DNA replications. Here only one individual is producing two daughter cells. So there is only one DNA replication and one time variation. But if two individuals are there, like male and female. In human beings, male produces sperm, and in female, it produces ovum. And this sperm and ovum, they both are known as germ cells. They both are known as germ cells because they took part in our reproduction. The sperm moves from male to female and fertilizes with ovum to produce zygote. So that is our basic reproductive method, but we are here talking about variation. So when male produces sperm, there is a DNA replication in male, and when female produces ovum, there is also DNA replication in female, and these both DNA replication are being carried out in different individuals. That's why there will be different variation. Here also there will be some slight changes, and here also there are some slight changes, but these both slight changes are different from each other. So this is two variations combining to produce a zygote and ultimately new human being. So this new human being is combination of two variations from different individuals. So there is more variation in sexual reproduction than in asexual reproduction. That's why sexual reproduction is beneficial when we are talking about variation and ultimately evolution, which is helpful for our species, not for single organism. So this was about why we use sexual reproduction. Let us go further. But there is a major problem in our sexual reproduction, that when we talk about amoeba, we are talking about amoeba because we are talking about generally asexual reproduction. So here is amoeba. He is producing two new amoebas at a time by cell division, and there is some DNA present in amoeba. So this amount of DNA present in this, when it gets replicated, DNA replication first will take place, so it will produce 2 times of DNA present before it was present in amoeba. It will produce a copy of that DNA amount, and each amoeba will get that amount of DNA which was earlier present in parent. But when we talk about sexual reproduction, there are two individuals, male and female, and as many of you know that we human beings, we have 46 chromosomes in our every cell. That is 23 pairs, I know, but total it makes 46. There are main 23 and copy of this 23, which makes it 46. So male and female both have 46 chromosomes. Now if these two, male and female, combine together to form a new human being, so it will have 92 chromosomes if these two gets combined. So ultimately the new human being will have twice the amount of DNA than its parents, and this is not good, because if this much amount of DNA is present, it will not work with the cell apparatus and ultimately will die. So there should be some procedure in which the new organism gets the same amount of DNA as its parents. So when we are talking about our system that is very complex, or we are talking about complex organisms, because we are complex. Amoeba was single cellular, we are multicellular with billions of cells making tissues, organs, organ system and our whole body. And likewise, when we talk about organ system, there is also one reproductive system which is there just to reproduce. So this reproductive system contains testis and ovary when we talk about human beings. So in testis, if this is the structure of testis, there is a lineage or line of cells. There are thousands. Here it is just a diagrammatic representation. So these are the cells which are able to control this amount of DNA. Means when these cells, they what they do, they produce sperms, and in ovary they produce ovum. So when they produce sperm or ovum, they reduce the number of chromosomes to half. Means if every cell of male contains 46 chromosomes, but when it produces our sperm, the sperm will contain only 23 chromosomes. Likewise, here the ovum will also contain only 23 chromosomes. So when fertilization occurs and this sperm and this ovum gets together, so 23 plus 23 chromosomes will make 46, not 92. That's why a new human will have same amount of DNA as its parents, both the parents. So this division of chromosomes is, or this division of cells during sperm or ovum, or in general germ formations, because sperm and ovum are called as germ cells which produces zygote. So this germ formation will have meiotic type of cell division, which you have already studied in your 9th standard. There are two kinds of cell division, mitosis and meiosis. So this was mitosis, in which same amount of chromosomes are being transferred, and this is meiosis, in which half the number of chromosomes will transfer to sperm or ovum or germ cells. So this is the procedure in human beings or in every complex organisms who use sexual mode of reproduction. So what happens in sexual mode of reproduction? Every germ formation have meiotic cell division. So it is also called as reduction cell division, because the number of DNA or number of chromosomes are being reduced. So this is the procedure from which the establishment of number of chromosomes or DNA in new generation will be equal to their parents. So every time we talk about zygote is the result of fertilization. Fertilization means fusion of sperm and ovum, or fusion of male gamete and female gamete, because sperm and ovum are also called as male and female gametes. So when we talk about zygote, this fertilization of sperm and ovum makes zygote. So this zygote is a single cell. We talked that we all are developed from a single cell known as zygote. So if this zygote have to make a whole complex organism like us, which have specialized tissues and organs to do specific functions, so it should or it will need some energy, because cell need energy to function. So every time this zygote have to form a complex organism, it will need energy. So from where this energy is supplied? So in very simple organisms, it is seen that both the germ cells like sperm and ovum are similar in structures. Means you cannot identify if this sperm and ovum of simple organism are in front of you. They will be same. You cannot distinguish between them. But in us, in complex organisms like human beings, we know that if this is the structure of sperm, so this is the structure of ovum. We know that ovum is very much larger than the sperm. Here also sperm is very large, but if you want the real comparison, the sperm will like this in front of ovum. So why this? Because when we talked about energy or stores of energy, so this ovum contains this energy which will help our zygote, which is being developed inside this ovum. So when this zygote gets divided to form embryo, which is a developing human being, this ovum will have stores of energy, stores of food. So in complex organisms, generally one gamete, which is here ovum, one gamete is large and contains food and is non-motile, means it will not move, it can't move. In us also, ovum can't move, sperm are motile. So one gamete will be large, contains food and will be non-motile, and one gamete sperm in case of humans will be small, will not have any kind of food and will be motile in function, means sperm can move. So in human beings, sperm moves from male reproductive part to female reproductive part and fuses with ovum, which have food, and zygote will use this food to develop into new organism. So as our gametes are also different, that is, one is small, one is large, our whole organism's body, like in us, you can identify female or male by outer appearance, because we are different from each other in case of reproductive organs, and you can say that accessory reproductive organs. So this way, in complex organisms, there are two sexes, male and females, who together forms a new generation or new individual. So today this is enough. From next lecture we will start sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Thank you, students.